Welcome to the Awakened Heart Podcast. I'm your host, Nancy Walters. Get ready to create magic and miracles as you lean into your heart's desires. I believe not only does the heart want what it wants, but it knows. This show is a weekly deep dive into what it means to live from an awakened heart. I'll be sharing inspiring stories and real conversations with people just like you, who have turned the ordinary into the extraordinary. My mission is to show you how you too can be connected and heart-centered in every area of your life. Your journey to aligning with more love, more joy, and your wildest dreams come true starts now. Welcome to the Awakened Heart Podcast. I'm your host, Nancy Walters, and here we go. Today is the last installation in my ayahuasca story. And night 2 is nothing like I could have ever imagined. Like, I could not have even prepared for what was about to happen. As you might remember from the first night, that people got something called sananga, which was eye drops in the eyes. And I'm not very fond of anything going into my eyes, so I opted out of that and decided to get rape instead. And, that was the snuff that went up to the nose and was supposed to calm you before having the ceremony and to prepare you to go into the ceremony. So this night I decided to do sananga, and right before heading out over to the yurt for the ceremony, we were told that they wouldn't be offering the mild sananga anymore because it really didn't do much. So they were only going to offer the strong and medium, which was like, oh my God. So we went to the yurt and got ready for the ceremony. Everyone that wanted to receive sananga, they laid their heads towards the mesa. So just to give you a little background on what sananga is. Sananga is a tropical plant that grows along the Amazon rivers in South America. This powerful sacred medicine of shamans is used for various medicinal purposes, ranging from healing physical and spiritual illnesses or ailments. It's used to clear the mind and energies and obtain a complete new form of perception and approach. The pure spirit of sananga supports a deep cleansing of the blocked energies on the emotional, physical, and spiritual levels. Sananga can balance and increase your energies and find the roots of your illnesses and blockages, leading to a complete balance, concentration, and peace of mind. Also, the drops will expand your vision and spiritual awareness and enhance your ability to read other people's intentions. In addition, sananga increases your long-range vision, which is important for future visualizations and predictions. It also detoxifies the body, increases visual perception, and improves colors, clears long-standing internal anger, helps with mental disorders such as addiction, depression, and anxiety, and restores the energy field. It's also used to treat spiritual illnesses caused by negative energies in the body. In addition to this, the drops are also used to cure and improve a wide range of eye problems such as myopia, depth and color perception, image definition, and detection accuracy. This magical medicine is indicated in cases of serious eye diseases such as glaucoma, cataracts, and blindness. Although sananga is famous for its effects on vision and visualization, this medicine is considered an indigenous multi-purpose remedy. And during this ceremony, it's applied to the eyes. So as I'm laying there waiting for it to be my turn, I'm of course nervous as heck. And as soon as they come over to me and it's my turn, I just told them how nervous I was. I was scared. And, they got dropped into my eyes. And it's first dropped into one and then blown to kind of cool it a little, and then directly into the next one. And it did burn. It did burn like heck. And I really didn't notice it anything other than the burning. I can't say that I had any other kind of effects or calming or visions, or I don't think I had any kind of experience emotionally or bodily than the burning. And I saw him go to the to the person next to me, and he did the strong, and woof, could tell he was having quite a time with it. But I believe that he's done it several times, so I think he got the effects that he wanted from it. So I don't know, maybe I'll try it again. I always say I'll try something once, so I tried it. I'm glad I did, but it's not something I necessarily have to do again. So there you go. There's my Sananga experience. So after we were all done with Sananga, they didn't do the rape this night. So after it was administered, we all sat up and got ready for the ceremony. And the same activities ensued as far as preparing the medicine and preparing the space. So again, we all got called up by one to take the medicine. And then, as I said, I'm like the fourth person, and there were 10 of us doing it, along with the facilitators, who were 4 of them. And so I sat back down, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And I sat there, and I was stone cold sober. I was waiting for the medicine to hit me, and it didn't. And I don't know if that's because I ate a lot and the night before I was fasting, but I had a pretty full meal that day, like 2, big breakfast and a big lunch. But then again, the first time I did it, the second night, I had ate a lot as well, and I had a really visual experience, that one that I did about 2 years ago. And it was interesting because I was sitting there and the ceremony was going on, and to just hear it and know and remember where I'm usually at when those icaros are sung. I'm usually like starting to see visions, or I'm starting to see colors, or I'm starting to see the geometric patterns. I was experiencing that stone cold sober. Some people began vomiting right away. So I believe the person next to me was throwing up, but again, he was such a quiet thrower upper. I couldn't even tell he was doing it unless I opened my eyes. But there was someone really throwing up across the room, and I had to just send love to that side of the room. And I had my lavender oil and my peppermint oil that I kept bringing up to my nose to keep me from like getting a little bit wigged out about something that I absolutely cannot stand hearing or smelling, or let alone especially me doing myself throwing up. And some of the sounds that I was hearing was making me want to throw up. So I was stone cold sober. The ceremony was still beautiful. And then about an hour into it is when we get our second call. We get the second call for the medicine, and I shot up right away. I went right over there. I knew I needed it. So I went up over there from the second call. I still didn't want a full glass because I don't think I could have stomached it. And so I did a little bit. I told one of the facilitators that I think I ate too much. He's like, that's not the reason. And so I'm like, okay. So I sat back down and I still waited. I probably sat up for about another hour and listened to the beautiful ceremony going on around me. And when you take the medicine, you want to sit straight up and wait for it to take effect, or you lay down. You want to have your spine straight. So I knelt and waiting for it to affect me. I started kneeling. I was stretching. I was moving around. And I opened my eyes and I saw one of the shamans in the darkness with a glowing tip of a cigarette, and then he blew it into my face. He blew my pacho, and it's supposed to cleanse and maybe help me settle down. I settled down a little bit after that, and even though I wasn't feeling it, I enjoyed the ceremony and was just beginning to think it wasn't going to work and was going to ride out the night without feeling. And I was okay with that. I was okay with that because when those geometric patterns and those colors and the cartoon start swirling, it's like a loss of control, and it's something else for you to go through. So I was really fine with nothing really happening. It started happening a little bit. There were little geometric psychedelic colors and shapes. It wasn't really like it usually was. Like some nights it's very vivid colors. And I did see a little bit of the stars and some patterns. They were dark shapes and some flashes of light at the corner of my eyes. So I saw a little bit of dark shapes. It wasn't this huge colorful display. So I think at this point, I was hearing a lot of vomiting happening around the room, and people were going in and out of the zipper tent. And even someone wasn't outside, I was hearing vomiting and whispering around the room. And I felt literally like I was in hell. I'm thinking in my head, I'm in hell. I am done with ayahuasca. I never want to do this again. And I really struggled with it. And I even turned around and faced away from the mesa just to feel a little more protected and safe, because literally like the next head next to me was throwing up. And, I needed to feel safe. So I turned around, pulled the covers up over my head. It was very smoky that night. It was very, very, very smoky. So I covered my face in order to be able to breathe. And I was starting to feel I was getting a little cough from all the smoke. And the vomiting was just constant. And it literally sounded like the pits of hell, along with the beautiful ceremony and the beautiful carols that were being sung. Yeah, I was under there. So the only thing I really felt, my body was in a lot of pain. I was very uncomfortable. And I was clutching the covers like over my chest. And at some point, I felt like I was being abandoned. So the whole story of abandonment and, nothing ever working out for me. I'm alone and I'm not going to have any big revelations. And then realizing that I'm getting exactly what I needed. That was exactly what I needed, that I'm being shown what I need to see, and that this is all a story in my head that needs to be released and I need to evolve from it. And then at a certain point, I was told to put my arms down, and that is Mama Ayahuasca speaking to me. And so I would put my hands down to my side. It was so uncomfortable to have my hands by my side. I was told I need to leave my heart open and to start protecting myself. And then there would be moments where all of a sudden my hands were back up over my chest, protecting myself. And I'd have to bring my arms down again by my side. And I really, really struggled with it. And I was told I'm protecting myself, no need to anymore. So there was a lot of movement throughout my stomach, in my bowels, my womb, my heart. There was a sharp pain and there was gurgling, and it was circulating through my entire core. I could feel it gripping over my heart. It was like, when your stomach is empty and it's just like this hollow growl throughout my stomach and gurgling throughout my intestines and all throughout my body. And I was told that they're clearing me out and working on me. I'm working on you, dear love. She kept saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. You have a great things to do. And I would ask for specifics, but I wouldn't get them. I tried asking for some intentions and what I needed to clarify, and I had to keep reminding myself it would come later. And I was going through what I needed to now, and also that I'm not abandoned. And that's the old story, which I recognized was false. I was being shown nothingness on purpose, and Aya gives you what you need, and I had to trust that. As I was going through body pain, Mama comforted me and nurtured me. And at a certain point, the shaman came over and asked me to turn around. And I was like, no, I don't want to turn around. I feel safe here. And before that, I had always thought that I was going to get like scolded for doing the wrong thing. But they let me be turned around for most of the ceremony. So this was the ventiata. This was the very end of the ceremony. And I was like, is anyone else throwing up? I feel safe here. No, I want to stay here. He's like, no, we need you to have to turn around. So I turned around and it was the ventiata. he asked me how I was feeling. How was my night? And I said, awful. I wasn't really feeling it. And I've struggled with it all night. So he started the ventiata. He rubbed oil on my face, blew Florida water over me, and was praying and chanting. And then the cool thing is he knew exactly what I needed. So he had me lift up my shirt so he could rub oil on my stomach. He placed his hands on my stomach, moved them around, and then he got some sound bowls and started playing the sound bowls over my heart, over my stomach, and it really calmed me, and I was able to finally drop into my body. I felt the heaviness, and I was calm, and I was relaxed, and I feel like it was the end of the ceremony that I really started to really feel the effects of ayahuasca, even though she's been working on me the whole time. But I was able to finally rest and be calm. So he finished the ventiata, he blew the saplar, over my head, and finished with the ventiata, which is my favorite part of the ceremony. So I dropped in, and finally my body was heavy, and I was at peace, and I felt the medicine. But I turned around again, faced away from the mesa, because there was puking now on both sides of me. And I just wanted to float away in the harmony that I was feeling then. So even though there was no grand visions or insights, I really feel what I experienced was important, and more would be revealed later to me over time. And Mama whispered, "We're not done with you. We will be working on you. It's not over after the ceremony." So the ceremony ended, and they lit some candles, and people sat around. I could hear them talking gently, quietly around me. And then one by one, people started leaving the tent, and I stayed. I think the last person maybe left the tent around 2 a.m. And I ended up staying in the tent until the sun came up, because I couldn't even imagine getting up and walking anywhere. I was exhausted, and I was just in the throes of the ayahuasca experience. And so the candles are still lit there, and the music is still going. So, and then I looked next to me, and my roommate was still laying there, and she looked like an angel next to me. So I was like, oh, that's nice. She's still here with me. And I'm like her little angel face. So I had pain through my body for hours. And boy, I was just amazed how it could still be so active in my body. And I had taken it, 10, 11 hours earlier, and it was still moving all throughout my body. I felt totally cleared out, and thank God I didn't throw up either that night. But I was sighing, and I was burping, and I was releasing whatever energy was inside me. I knew it was getting late, but the thought of walking was too exhausting. I didn't know how I could even manage to do it. And I'm thinking in my head, help me. Will someone come back? But nobody came back. My roommate finally had left. I think an hour before I did. And I was alone for maybe an hour or two after. And then I saw out one of the windows, the sun was starting to come up. I saw the pink sky. It was still dark out. And finally, I was feeling like I could walk, and I wanted to go to bed and go to sleep. And so I saw the breath coming out. It was a long and cold pathway under the moonlight through the woods. And I walked back to the house, and it was a big, bright moon. My hands were so numb from the cold. Beautiful pink sky, and I was preparing for the sunrise. It was freezing cold out. I had my flashlight illuminating, and when I got back to the room, it was 6:45 in the morning, and I slipped back into bed. And I think I slept for about 2 hours, and then we got up and prepared breakfast. And then before we all left for the day, we shared our experiences. And I was also shown that night how to soften my body, my heart, my mind, my energy, my anxiousness, my anger, my femininity, to embrace my femininity and stop posting on stories. So I took an Instagram break. I literally was raging over the narrative just before this happened and getting lost in everything that was happening in the world and nothing was changing and trying to wake people up. And I've shown that's not the right way. People are either going to see it or they're not. And people are starting to pop awake like popcorn on their own. And all I can do is plant the seeds. So I took a 3-week Instagram break and stayed away from all that. And it's been a really great detox. So I am going to approach how to, kind of hold the light in a different way and not be so enraged in it all. So as I'm recording this, I think it's about a month since I've done it, and I have made some major decisions that I was hemming and hawing on before the ceremony. Went into ceremony the first night really stressed. My mom was in the hospital and she's dealing with Alzheimer's, and my dad's stressed. He's going to be 94 New Year's Eve. And I have decided to go back to Michigan for a period of time. I'm going to go back and stay for a couple months. Don't want to move back to Michigan, but I feel that it's the right thing to do to be closer to family and help my sisters to get the house in order. And I've only got one set of parents, and I've been gone for 24 years now. I lived in California for 21 years, and I've been in Oregon maybe 2.5 years. So, and I'm not really fond of what's happening here politically or what a lot of policies are taking place here in Portland. I do love Oregon. It's absolutely beautiful. So I know I want to move somewhere where there's more free thinking, more patriotic, more anti-government overreach community. And I moved out here to Oregon completely on my own. I believe because of COVID, it's been kind of slow in making friends, and I still don't have that friend circle. And I recently pulled out some old photos and I put some albums together, and I saw how many friends I've always had. Since moving to California, I was surrounded by friends, different groups of friends. I still have a lot of those friends 2 decades later. And, I feel like I'm going to go back to my roots. I have my best friend that's living in Michigan right now. She's there for her father, who's older as well, and to be closer to my sisters, because I'm thinking, if all goes to crap, where do I want to be? I want to be with my family. So if anything, my move 2.5 years has taught me here, because everything teaches you something. Of course, I had a great job and I was able to get myself into a really good financial situation. And now that that's slowing down, it's like, what is next? What is next for me? It's been a little lonely here, and it's really shown me that what is important, and take another leap of faith. I don't know where I'm going to end up. My stuff will go into storage, and hopefully down the road, or hopefully in the next couple months, it'll become more clear to me as to where I shall live next. But for now, I'm going to go home to family. So that was a really big decision. I lined up the movers, and I'll be leaving the beginning of April. So, and it's been like so rainy here, and I've been slower with work, and it's literally been like a Chinese water torture, like sitting in the house and it's cold outside. I do know now I do like storms, and I like rain, and I like thunderstorms, and I don't mind a little bit of gloomy weather, but I do not like the cold. I do not like elongated winters, and I need the sun. I need the sun, I need my vitamin D, and I definitely need my nature. So we'll see. There are some contenders on my list, and I just need to explore them. So that was a really, really, really big decision that I came to pretty quickly. It's pretty clear after the ceremony, and there's still the integration happening. So we'll see what else transpires, because the medicine is in me. It will be in me for months, and it's something I can always really connect back to. So if anyone is ever thinking of doing ayahuasca, and as I mentioned before, it's so important to do it in the right setting. It's important to have the right facilitators, the right shamans skilled there to hold space for you. Like, these guys dedicated their lives to doing this, and they feel so honored and really pinch themselves that they're able to do this kind of work. And And it's been such an amazing experience. And again, like I said, I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but I said that the last time. So if I feel called down the road, I'll answer it. So like I said, it wasn't some huge visionary, revelatory, otherworldly experience, but it's not done. Like she said, like Mama said, we're not done with you. And going forward, I'm ready to reconnect, meditate. I'm back practicing meditation because I got away from that. Anyway, that is my 4 nights of ayahuasca. That is the end of the journey. That's the end of the series. If you ever want to learn more, you're welcome to DM me. You can also, at the end of the show notes, you can connect with me on Instagram. And I have a Facebook page, but I'm not very much on the Facebook page. And I've left some resources in the show notes as well. So all of you lovelies, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. This probably won't come out until January. I'm thinking I'm about to take off on a 3-week trip to go down to Arizona. My friend is having a New Year's Eve party. I spent Thanksgiving alone, which is something that I needed, and I had an awesome time by myself. People were like, oh, that's sad, you're spending it alone. But you know what? I actually relished in it. Is that the right word? Reveled in it. Because I had just come off ceremony and I was still integrating, and I cooked an amazing meal, and I cracked out on some of my favorite shows. Watched The Holiday, which was an old Christmas movie with Cameron Diaz and Kate Blanchett. No, not Kate Blanchett, Kate Winslet. It was very cheery. And I also got into the Hannah series. If anyone's ever seen the series, they just came out with the 3rd season, and I was hooked. If you haven't seen that, it's a great series to see. So my best friend is flying in from Michigan, and then we're going to drive down, and then we're going to explore some southern Utah. So I need to get some sun into my bones. So we're going to do like a little Thelma and Louise trip, and got to get the hell out of Dodge because there's a winter storm coming. Ooh, Lord help us. So we're hoping to get out of Oregon before any of that snow hits, because there's a corridor near the southern part that's a little treacherous to go through. So wish me luck, and I will see you in 2022. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Awakened Heart Podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, head on over to your favorite podcast app to subscribe, rate, and review. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback, you can reach me at theawakenedheartpodcast.com.